Let's talk about communism in the church. You know already, because we talk about it all the time, that communism is itself a religion. It is not a political ideology. It's not left. It's not Democrats. It is a religion. It is a way to see the world, in a way to serve a power higher than yourself. That's how communists view it. So they have a problem, though. So many people, maybe you, they already have a belief system. They already serve a power higher than themselves, and they don't want to replace it with communism. Well, that's a problem if you're a communist. So you can handle this problem a variety of ways, but one thing the communist knows for a fact, you have to handle this problem. So if you're in the Soviet Union, you might just burn down the churches and torture and kill the priests. You'll do the same thing in Spain when you have your communist revolution. If you're in China, you go execute all the Buddhist monks, tear down the temples. You're just taking care of the problem in a more forward manner. But American communists don't have that option. They don't. America's Christian founding, America's church, it's occupied by a bunch of people with guns. Even if you're a Democrat president in this country, you kind of still have to pretend a little bit to be part of it. So if you're Joe Biden, you have to stumble into Mass once every year and tell people you're a Catholic. Why is he doing that? Joe Biden isn't Catholic. Why is he doing that? Well, you understand you still have to pay lip service to it. Well, that's a problem, isn't it? If you're a communist having a revolution, that's a problem. They want to burn down the church and kill all the people who go there. But you can't do that here. So if you can't do that, if that option is not available, what options do you have? We have to take them over. If you can't burn them down and kill everyone, then you have to infiltrate them and marry your religion with theirs until you can finally destroy it. And they know being anti-Christian is a problem for them. They've known this for years. That image, which is very accurate, is a problem for them. This is an old clip that's been going around, but it's from 2016. Jon Stewart getting all indignant. You don't own Christianity.
This country isn't yours. You don't own it. It never was. There is no real America. You don't own it. You don't own patriotism. You don't own Christianity. You sure as hell don't own respect for the bravery and sacrifice of military, police, and firefighters. Trust me.
But we do own those things. The communist hates America, hates the church, hates the cops, hates the military. We do own those things. So why would you go on a rant like that? Because he understands the fact that we own these things and the fact that that image is out there presents a problem for the communist revolution. So what do? Well, you have to infiltrate the seminaries, infiltrate the church, and make it something completely against the Bible and frankly demonic. That's why we have female pastors now.
Word became flesh and lived among us, and my body, your body, their bodies are home for the living God. Yes? Full of grace, full of truth. That is why I take my 11-year-old boy to drag shows in the summer with my friend and fellow church leader Kate and her 11-year-old boy. I want him to know that there is no wrong way to have a body, especially if you're a man, that bodies can be celebrated and played with. I want him to know that all bodies can shapeshift and be adorned with makeup and glitter, all bodies. I want him to know that there is no wrong way to live in his body, as long as his body is not hurting other bodies, amen? I especially want him to know this if he turns out to be a heterosexual, able-bodied, and cisgendered man. I want to raise a boy who knows that he doesn't get to tell other people how to live in a body.
And I want her to know she's going to burn in hell for all of eternity if she doesn't apologize and change her ways. But that's not the point. The point is the people who sit in those pews, they think they're getting the teachings of God. When instead, you know what they're getting. Look, this stuff is everywhere.
O God of pronouns, we give praise to the Great One, the one who is identifiable as God. I am what I am, you say, the great they. The incarnate he and she, the God of trans being, male and female, intersex, non-binary, in your image, exactly in your image. Spectrum, rainbow God, who put your promise for nonviolence in the symbol for queer love before humanity knew, because you knew. God of pronouns, who said, you can call me he or she or they, whatever makes you feel closest to me.
I'm not going to play anymore. Look, we have 20 of these. I'm not going to play anymore because it sickens me. But just know that this was done on purpose by the communists. They ran smack dab into the American church, and they had to figure out a way to conquer it. And they are conquering it. And it's not all these freaks. Maybe your pastor gave a sermon on white privilege after George Floyd died. Mine did, by the way. I lost my church that day. But we have got to be awake and realize the communists are infiltrating the churches in order to destroy a competing religion. All right? I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.